Good. Let's get right into this. So here are some basic things that you need to understand about Social Security benefits, that you need to understand about a potential reduction of benefits on a yearly basis that Trump will be facing shortly. Now, as you know, there's a lot going on with the Social Security Administration. Major release number one from the SSA.gov website: financial services industry leader Frank Bisignano to be the 18th commissioner of the Social Security Administration. Now, what's ironic about this is that Social Security commissioners used to shoot for 6 years of service at a time. Now they usually shoot for months of service at a time. That's because it's just politically, we just swap them in, swap them out. Now, financial services industry leader Frank Bisignano was sworn in today as the 18th commissioner of the Social Security Administration. He joins the Social Security Administration from Fiserv, the industry leading payments and fintech company where he was chairman and CEO. So just bottom line is like the company that you guys use for most banking payments, where you like send somebody money, it's quicker, it's easier, it's whatever. He was part of getting all of those systems up and rolling. Okay. Quote, President Trump has been clear about the Social Security. About Social Security, we will protect it, said Commissioner Bisignano. We will make the Social Security Administration a premier organization. Now, it's not supposed to be a premier organization. That terminology scares me a lot because Social Security Administration is supposed to be an agency that is accessible for all, not a premier quasi luxury administration. When you say premier, it usually means like we're talking about like, and you could read it many ways. You could read it as like, oh, it's super great, it's an amazing organization. But the way I read when I hear premier, I get a little worried because to me that's like, very high end, fashionable, chic, very nice, that's good. That's a really nice company right there. To me, it reads as a luxury word, and I don't think but again, he doesn't come from this world. He comes from the banking world. So we're going to see some mismatches in terminology being used and things like that. Okay. Social Security Commissioner oversees the administration of all Social Security programs. Last year, Social Security paid over $1.5 trillion in benefits to more than 72 million beneficiaries. All right. So bottom line is this: Frank Bisignano was finally put in. Now, let's not bullet crap each other on why this is happening. This is a major turning point for the Social Security Administration, much more than people realize, much more than people understand. Just before Frank Bisignano was put in, we had, Commissioner Dudek. Dudek was chosen to lead the Social Security Administration through the extremely giant, massive changes that we were seeing going on. And to be fair, just with this entire thing, we had Leland Dudek as the throw-in commissioner to go ahead and do the best job he could to actually do what Elon Musk and Trump wanted him to do with the Social Security Administration. There were lots of firings, lots of retirings, all that kinds of stuff. Major changes, major downsizing, got rid of tons of regional offices. They took an axe and a hammer and a cleaver all at once to the agency. Now, you've noticed they've started to soften their grip, soften the nibble, if you will, on the Social Security Administration. And that's because they're trying to turn it over now to Frank Bisignano as the classic white knight to come in and save the fair princess from the terrible, terrible, scary things that had to be done before. I think, to be fair, people have been really mean to Commissioner Dudek, but to be fair, he was put in as a sacrificial pawn, to take direction from Trump and Elon to hatchet away portions of the Social Security Administration. Now, remember, directly before they released this, where they said, hey, we got the new commissioner, Frank Bisignano, they released this right here. And what this essentially was, it stated this: Social Security Administration today announced its progress, blah, blah, blah. This was the first 100 days of the Trump administration. It was their chance to give a strong middle finger to, of course, our friends on the left. I'm an independent. I'm in the middle. You got people on the left, people on the right. But this was his FU, blah, blah, blah letter to, of course, those individuals that were on the left side, where he brought up progress on the Social Security Fairness Act, cost avoidance, and efficiency initiatives that he completed. He had workforce reorganization, optimization, modernization of telephone services, fraud prevention, addressing age records, stewarding taxpayer dollars and ensuring program integrity, improving payment accuracy, expanding health information technology, which is ironic because he fired a hell of a lot of those. Cost reduction and enhancement plans for Social Security number verification. And of course, implementation of hearing recording and transcripts, heart system, raising awareness against scams, and enhancing communication and transparency. This was Trump's summarized letter as to what he got done with Commissioner Dudek. That was his main push, his main oof, his main go this way kind of spiel. And so the main thing that I want you to kind of understand from this perspective is that we are seeing a massive transition going on right now. Also, I want to do a super big shout out to Princess Diana. As you know, she's been with us a very, very long time. She is absolute royalty when it comes to this channel. You can see there she's a subscriber with a very, very special icon. She did a $2 donation. Howdy, please give Sweetie and Shadow a hug. I will do that, and I really, really, really appreciate it. That's absolutely amazing. Now, what's happening is this. Trump is facing some pretty scary, tricky situations. But we, over the past 2 days, literally, that's it. Breaking news just out. Over the past 2 days, we know that China is now beginning to reduce essentially these tariffs on US based product interactions. And as a result, we now know, to be fair, okay, that essentially, the bottom line is that, this is one of those situations where, we have to understand and acknowledge that going forward, you know, China's willing to make a deal. Now, we all thought the Social Security Administration to some degree was going to have a lapse in benefits, an interruption in benefits, and it had those. It had those for some people. It really did. And the bottom line is this: it's one of those gigs where at the end of the day, we've now learned that China is bending a knee. So now we got the EU, Europe, bending a knee. You got Canada bending a knee. Mexico, South America, although South America, they were going to bend a knee anyways, bending a knee. And, at the end of the day, this is one of those things where I thought I could have swore the Social Security Administration was going to go through like the shittiest shit show. We were going to have to like drag it behind the chariot and then try and like coax it back up onto the chariot and be like, it's okay. We still love you. But if Trump can convince China, and by convince, I mean use gang tactics as a giant United States corporation of threats and disaster to make them give us a much better trade deal, then what happens is if we get the benefit of better tariffs with China, and then we see this massive reducing of tariffs between both countries, and we get rid of us mailing something to them costing $30 and them mailing it back to us costing 30 cents, and we get to everybody paying, 25 cents to mail something there and back, then the real beneficiaries are you, the Social Security recipients, the fragile class, right? The poor, the disabled, the handicapped, the elderly, etc. And so what's really interesting about this whole situation is that at the end of the day, this is one of those things where I didn't think Trump was going to be able to pull it off. I didn't. I still, we are days away from knowing if he literally just pulled off the biggest Social Security Administration heist in the history of its existence, and then pulling off a full audit and a full correction of course of this massive administration. He's literally very close to doing it. They have some talks coming up with Beijing. If the talks end up with both countries getting preferable, because we have shit, a lot of countries, we've paid far too much, okay, to other nations when it comes to what we were paying versus what we were getting. If we get favorable terms with China, I mean, the only one left on the docket then would be Russia, you know what I mean? But we don't really need it from Russia other than maybe some, raw natural resources in the form of like gas or fuel or natural gas or whatever, propane. The point is, if we get China, you are going to be seeing the potential of the opposite of what Biden had. Let me show you. This is the yearly reduction of benefits problem that we face. I'm going to show you real quick. Hold on. All right. So this is straight from the SSA website. Okay. Cost of living adjustments, SSA.gov. Here it is. Okay. The bottom line is this: when the year has a big old number of the cost of living adjustment, most people think that they're getting a great deal because they're getting a percentage increase that's large for the next year for the Social Security benefits. But y'all are more educated than that. You realize that the bigger the cost of living adjustment number, right? If we go back to Jimmy Carter era, the numbers are god awful. 9.9%, 1979, 1980, 14.3%, 1981, 11.2%. We go back to Jimmy Carter, which I think everybody can hopefully agree. I know some people are going to argue the president before caused it, blah, blah, blah. But I think if we can all agree, Jimmy Carter, as a financially, economically brilliant person, I'm sorry, he was a horrible, horrible economy president. Also, the math that they used to calculate the cost of living adjustment was more preferential to the beneficiary back then. Some of the numbers that I've read on how they calculate it show that Biden's numbers were actually significantly reduced based off of the new math that they used for the cost of living adjustment over the past 25 years. As a result, Biden's epic fail numbers, okay, let's go to it. 2021, 5.9%, 2022, 8.7%, 2023, 3.2%, 2024, 2.5%. His epic fail numbers were actually not as calculated during the Jimmy Carter era. And I've spoken with a mathematician, and he said it was very plausible that Biden's numbers post-COVID, and I'm not saying Biden, although he did do a lot of it, but let's just be fair, okay? He had COVID. COVID was very difficult. He didn't handle immigration properly. That didn't help. He sold a bunch of our reserve oil over to China, effed over our reserve currency, was a complete disaster as a president. It is what it is. But at the end of the day, and I know some of you love him, but you deserve better. There's a lot of Democrats that are far superior than that, okay? Far superior. Let me give you an example, right? You guys know that I'm a big fan of one of the commissioners, past commissioners of the SSA, put in by Biden, right? I'm not going to do an advertisement thing for him here because, I've done too many videos where I've said, look, go check him out, okay? But the bottom line is there are great Democrats out there. If you look at the numbers specifically as to how things have increased, we could potentially see during the Trump era a cost of living adjustment that would be similar to the Obama era. In the Obama era, although they fudged the math a little bit on this from what I was seeing and reading about, in 2009, they had a 0% increase in cost of living adjustment. In 2010, they had a 0% increase in cost of living adjustment. If Trump works out major trade that actually works for America, that decreases the cost of us to bring products into this country so that they can be sold at a significantly cheaper rate, which means poor people, that's you, Social Security recipients, that means you get the benefit of buying stuff cheaper. Now, there are some counter arguments and counter forces that can F this all up. For example, you could have very greedy grocery store owners. You could have CEOs still hold the prices up high. We as a country are no longer a capitalism-based republic. What we are is a monopolistic capitalism shit show. That's what America is now, right? How many mega corporations have bought up lots of other corporations to control the market on a particular group of products or services? That's all America is now. It's rich people buying companies that make money over and over and over and over again. And that's okay. Just is what it is. Just is what it is. At the end of the day, it just is what it is, Now, here's the basic thing, okay, that I think is very important with this, okay? At the end of the day, and I saw the comment there from Rogue or the top 1%, a lot of you guys are of the opinion that in order for you to succeed, the rich have to fail. That's not how it works. The way it works is in order for the poor to get a better deal, the rich have to get a better deal. Some of you will say that's horrible. Some of you say that's not true. The rich control the corporations because we live in a shitty monopolistic capitalism. That's where a bunch of people own all of it. They're monopolies. They're crowns. They own it. We don't have capitalism like back in the day where they come out and they try to split stuff up. Yeah, we had a Supreme Court, we had a court system ruling saying, hey, Google, you're going to have to split yourself up a little bit. You're too big because you've essentially crushed the ability of other search, systems to be used with the internet. You've taken the marketplace and stolen too much of the pie. Yeah, sure. But I need you to understand something. The rich already won. I know that sounds weird to you, but look, can you beat that? Can you find a way? Can you beat essentially the idea that the rich already won? Just take a moment to think about it. What company do you use that isn't owned by some other mega entity? Okay. Once you get past that one, and I know you're going to bring up chips. Everybody thinks of potato chips. I went there too. Then you get to the second thing. Maybe there's a company you found that doesn't have owners, that are owned by some mega conglomerate, some mega family, whatever. Maybe you make it to that. Maybe you find a product that you make it. Maybe you find a service that makes it to that. Okay. But how long? How long until a mega money business entity buys them out? Because the owners, they get mega money as an option. They're gonna do it. They're gonna do it. That's it. That's what it is. That's how it is. It's just what's going on. All right. So the bottom line is this. Okay. At the end of the day, and keep in mind, I'm a neutral. I'm a in the middle guy with this stuff, and I'll say stuff about Biden that you'll love or hate. I'll say stuff about Trump that you'll love or hate. If Trump can pull this off, if he can make this happen where we have better trade deals, you benefit massively as people who get money one month and in the same month spend that money. Social Security recipients are the ultimate class of money one day, spent it on products and services the next day. You are economy pumpers. The rich love you. You are ready to spend what you have to have more of what you need. Now, I want to point something out. Here's what's coming up that Trump has to watch out for. Trump. All right, let's go through it real quick. Okay. So you guys know that the cost of living adjustment essentially is calculated in the third quarter. And what they do as a government is they compare the third quarter to the last third quarter. Third quarter is July, August, September. Those are your 3 months that they use to calculate essentially the cost of living adjustment. And to be fair, to be very fair with this entire situation, one thing you have to keep in mind is that Trump, if he's smart, and he's got a bunch of people working away on the financial, timeline on this thing. If he's smart, not saying he is, but if he's smart, he will know that he has to fix all of this so that his numbers during July, August, and September, they have to be perfect. Because when they do the cost of living adjustment, in order for him to look good against Biden, his numbers have to be significantly better. Now, some of you will say Biden had a good year with a 2.5% in 2024. My counter argument to that, although it is true, my counter argument to that is, where was he before that? We all saw the gates welded open. We all saw him selling off our oil reserves in case a war happened to China. We all saw us paying massively over what we should, the decrease of our reserve currency's worth. We all saw it. Look, he did what he was supposed to do in the last year, and then we got numbers that made sense. because he had to get reelected until the party told him to skedoodle and they put in Harris. Okay? Not a good deal for him. It is what it is. Now, Trump, the way you can measure whether or not his economy and his tariff tricks and his bullying of other nations and his America, this I'm going to make it happen isms, okay? What happens is this, okay? At the end of the day, to be fair, if he can make these 3 months happen in this third quarter, if you can get a 0.0 cost of living adjustment increase, that is the best potential number you could get. You will obviously disagree. You'll be, well, I don't get more money. Well, I haven't got more money. If I haven't got more money, then it's obviously not good. Let me explain why. When inflation happens, they screwed with the math of cost of living adjustments. And as a result, the nonprofits have shown that you're supposed to be getting around $550 to $600 per month more for every Social Security check that you're supposed to get from 1999 forward. But they played with the Social Security COLA numbers, the cost of living adjustment by year. As a result of this, unfortunately, you guys tend to get improper amounts to, let's just put it like it is, increase your benefits on a yearly basis to keep up with the new cost of living adjustments. Now, many of you are sitting there going, okay, prove it. I don't have to prove it. It's too easy. Just go to your bank account and ask it. Just pull it up on your bank. Just pull it up. Go to PNC and Bank of America. Just pull up your bank account, obviously in a secure location away from people. You pull it up, you look at the account. What do you see? You see not enough money. Every year you get poorer because they've messed with the cost of living adjustment math to the benefit of the government, to the negative of the recipient. Every year you get poorer. And because of that, it creates a situation where, unfortunately, and it's just so frustrating, we are devaluing Social Security benefits to the point where they will ultimately likely vote against it. They will ultimately settle people out to get rid of it. Now, what does this mean? Trump has to get everything in order financially by July. So what's happening now? He's done his massive cuts to the Social Security Administration. People were screaming bloody murder to, Leland Dudick, the prior commissioner. Now he brings in his white knight savior. Beautiful sword, beautiful shield. He brings Frank Bisignano in to be the new commissioner. Now, look, let's just be fair. Frank Bisignano is a CEO of CEOs. He's accomplished things that I will never accomplish in my life. He is becoming the new commissioner of the SSA for who the F knows. He was earning so many millions per year at Fiserv, earning so many millions per year in general. Why would you ever go and work for the Social Security Administration as the commissioner? I don't know. The money they would pay him just for literally taking that job and doing that job is not enough money to likely run his jet for the year. I don't even know if he'll collect it, his payment. I don't know. So the point that I'm getting at with this is that we are going to do another video ramping into what Frank Bisignano is going to be doing for Donald Trump related to the Social Security Administration. But we are pivoting now to where it starts to get better, starts to feel good from the perspective of what Trump wants to do. There still may be more cuts. There still may be more problems. But he did that to Commissioner Dudek. He used him as a sacrificial pawn to go ahead and be the bad guy for all the cuts. Now, in the next video that we'll probably do tomorrow, of course, that's Thursday, so I'll go live and answer questions for free at a later video during that day. What we'll do is we'll go through what are the expected changes for Frank Bisignano as the new commissioner of the SSA and how you can get ahead of the ball. Now, with that said, you want to shoot for the lowest cost of living adjustment number. That's what you want. If you're seeing a cost of living adjustment of 3%, that's bad. If you're seeing a cost of living adjustment of 0.02, That's very good. Your brain will say it's not good because I'm not receiving more money. But in reality, it's good because that means the dollar hasn't devalued at a hyper ridiculous, gross, sickening amount. Your ability to survive on Social Security benefits is tied to your ability to spend the US dollar and receive items and goods and services at a rate that makes sense for how much you have on a monthly basis. So, as a result of that, that's the tricky part of this. If Trump can pull up and pull off getting all these countries on board, yeehaw, he's essentially created the ultimate amazing thing for Social Security recipients. It will be better than a stimulus, better than a COVID stimulus, better than a Christmas stimulus. It will be better than that because you will save that much more money per month on having to buy certain items. So that over the expanse of a year, you'll have saved more than $1,200, $1,400, $1,600, whatever. But that's if he can pull it off. And I think what you need to understand with this situation is that Frank Bisignano at this point has to deliver. Now, why is Frank Bisignano coming in at this point? Yes, we use a sacrificial pawn. That was Commissioner Dudek. Did Commissioner Dudek do a good job keeping the thing glued together long enough to get to Frank Bisignano? Yes. Does everybody have a hatred thing for Commissioner Dudek? To some degree, yeah. Okay, obviously on the left side, the Democrat side, they're more aggressive towards hating him. It is what it is. Frank Bisignano is coming into the SSA to take the systems, hyper automate them based off of the commercial industrial standard banking systems that were used, bringing in an entire team of people in which Trump is now getting ready to increase the budget of the SSA to operate by 20%. Massive increase. You know it like I know it. He's going to take the computer programs from the service industry that he was in banking, and he's going to bring it into the SSA, hyper automate things, and hyper automate with AI the phone system, the banking system, the My Social Security profile system, getting answers on Social Security benefits, the whole schmutz. So as a result, he has an almost Everest-like climb to deliver with this situation. But remember, it didn't just start yesterday. No. He knew the moment Trump got into office, he was tapped to become the commissioner to do these things. So he's known since 2024 in November. So he's known that he had to put together a team to do all this in November. So the bottom line here is you just got the most accomplished banking CEO, or at least top three. I mean, you could put Jamie in there, whatever, who is almost certainly going to change the entire system from a bunch of different programs into one or two hyper automated AI systems. Now, you will say to some degree that you don't like him. You will say to some degree that you are afraid of what he's going to do. Well, this is my presentation to you. The SSA is not going to survive unless they massively change it to be for the benefit of the American people. It is not the president who's going to kill Social Security benefits. It's not Congress that's going to kill Social Security benefits. What kills Social Security benefits are a lot of younger people, people under 50, giving up on trying to pay for older people and them forcing other politicians to vote it away. I want to hear from you your best argument as to how you can tell a 25-year-old who's getting not much money to work because companies are struggling. I want you to tell me how you as an older person can convince him to keep paying for your retirement benefits, to convince him to keep paying for your Social Security disability benefits, to convince him to take 12.4% plus some more from Medicare, 16 to 17% total from his check. He'll never own a home. She'll never even own a trailer. He'll never own a mansion. She'll never own an RV. Explain to me how, as a retired person, as a disabled person, how you are going to tell that 25-year-old how they need to keep paying for you as the next generation. And I know how it is. You're going to give me the big, you're going to give me the argument. I paid for my shit. Now you got to pay for yours. Yeah, no. That's not how it is. Okay. When you were 20, the houses were $10,000 to $30,000. Now the houses are $350,000 to $1 million. You're not going to shine me with that. You're not going to give me a little penny on the side to make me smile. No. No, the way it is now is that, unfortunately, the marketplace of things that make you a free American are completely and utterly not reachable. It's only the people who own companies that have the potential of being bought by some mega thing in the future. Only then can they get a taste of freedom. It's only the people who have assets that can go ahead and continue to build wealth over time. You know what I mean? Things like owning a forest. That's, huge forest. You can pull the trees and keep making money and plant more trees. Owning a rental home, right? That sucker, you can borrow against it. You can rent it out and get a monthly fee off of it. You can go ahead and do all kinds of stuff with it, right? Those are the things that are very quickly becoming incapable of being achieved by younger people. So you tell me, I want to hear your best arguments. You tell me how you're going to convince, okay? You tell me how you're going to convince a 25-year-old that they need to keep paying for you. That's tough. And you know why it's tough? Because the people who paid in their whole life are staring down the barrel of a young generation that has zero interest in playing the same game that they did. I cannot blame the elderly for hating the younger people for that. I cannot blame the younger people for hating the elderly, for enslaving them to a Social Security program that they don't even have the right of choice, that they don't even have the option to decide if they want to pay into it or not. That's the difference between Social Security and a Ponzi scheme. A Ponzi scheme is more ethical than a Social Security program. You see, in a Ponzi scheme, the investors get to choose whether or not they want to invest. And they don't get it, and they don't realize that it's a fraud, but they got the choice. They did their due diligence. They tried. They did their thing. Now, Social Security, you don't get a choice. You got to pay into it. Otherwise, you're going to get hit with the tax problem. All right. We are now going to be going into the next video. The next video is a video about how the Social Security Administration got their hands slapped by the Circuit Court of the United States, federal court. In that video, we are going to be going through essentially where the SSA unilaterally took documents from a disabled person, right? Person who was at least claiming that they were disabled, right? And then pulled them out of the file and said, you can't use them. Can't use them. We're going to be going through that video next. Attorney Walter Hnot, the most viewed and subscribed to disability attorney in America, most clicked on disability lawyer. Please remember, whenever you hire a disability attorney, I always tell people to call 5 different disability attorneys. You don't have to call me. You don't have to call me first. But if you're going to call me, call other disability attorneys, talk to them, and ask them, what are the merits of your claim? What are the problems that you need to watch out for, etc. And the most important question nowadays, this never existed until more nowadays. Ask the disability attorney how much. Ask them how much they're paying in referral fees to some group that snookered your call. It's a Facebook short video advertisement, or it's basically a website that pops up at the top of Google, all that stuff. Ask them how much they're paying in a referral fee before they even get to touch your claim. Ask them how much they got to pay, because remember, that's going to affect their representation on how much money they have to spend on working on your claim. Just be smart about that. I will catch you all a little bit later. Have an absolutely wonderful day. We will go to the next video shortly. Give me about 5-10 minutes. Please remember to like and subscribe. I had a little like, subscribe, ducky and now I don't see him, but he was adorable, and we're going to find him for the next video. Also, please remember, if you like these videos, if you like the channel, if you want to, give some stars, head over to Google and type in Disability Resolution Law Firm, Disability Resolution Florida. Head over to Google, throw some stars up there if you want. Totally up to you. Also, very, very, very important, please thank Kosher. He has sniper-like skills when it comes to his ability to do essentially moderating. He does an amazing job. He's just absolutely incredible at it. So bottom line is this, he's keeping everybody on the nice. Nobody's trying to Hannibal Lecter somebody else. This is good. We don't have any we don't need any you know what I mean, any walls of plastic, you know what I mean? We don't need any of that, okay? All right, with that said, also I do private sessions. You can do a 1 hour. It's in the bio link below if you need me to go through some sort of timeline situation on how to fix a Social Security problem that you're dealing with. And then finally, on Thursdays, Mondays and Thursdays, I go live to answer questions for free. You call me up, you get 5 to 10 minutes, 5 to 7 minutes for me to answer a question that you don't know the answer to about disability benefits. I will catch you at the next video in about 5 to 10 minutes. Let me go get a drink. Have a wonderful, wonderful night, and I will see you there. Attorney Walter Hnot, I'll put the link in the video comment section, and we will go from there. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.